Hey, hey, what's going on? Hopefully you can hear me okay. As I said in my Discord, stream schedule is still going to be Friday and Sunday. However, I have to just keep the time open to stay a little more flexible. Working on a little personal project here that I started a couple weeks ago. I just haven't gotten around to finishing it. And it's called Pumphrey and Beard's Coffee Shop. It's in Dixon, Tennessee. And I was there painting it in person. And I had to leave, actually, due to a tornado. So I only got so far, but I was having fun with it. So here I am, finishing it. It's on a canvas board. Oops, sorry. Which, honestly, like, I keep trying to justify gouache on canvas, but I still don't like it. It still has the best experience on paper so far. But there are people who do it on canvas. It's close. There's just something not quite absorbent about the canvas compared to paper. But it's close enough, and I've gone this far. I've already dumped a good amount of hours into this one. So I was having fun with it. It's been a pretty challenging one, color-wise, lighting-wise, with all these lamps and stuff, and I have a lot of work to do up in this foreground here. So, just going to be a little progress stream. We're not going to be doing like a whole demo with the painting from beginning to end. But, just wanted to make a little more progress on this here, so. I recently had to use the same easel for playing air competition recently, so I had to clear all my colors. So I have to kind of refine the colors, but it was a pretty diverse palette. I pretty much had all the colors, just in case. Oop, sorry again. My camera's so close, it's hard not to knock it. Hey, what's going on, Imaginary? Good to see you here. Hope you're having a good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Just here to make a little progress on this painting here. I do have the edges taped like it's a piece of paper, and I just like that look. It kind of frames it when it's all said and done. So I'm going to open up my paint drawer here. I love this drawer, just filled with wonderful tubes of paint. It makes me happy. You know what? My easel wants to tip there. Put it back in a little bit. Let's see. So I'm going to definitely bring out some of my burnt umbers, burnt siennas, and stuff like that. Even some gold ochre. Been having lots of fun with the mixed ones lately. And I kind of like to lay my palette out light to dark. It's not really necessarily left to right or anything, but I'll throw this somewhere over here. Not much. So glad to hear it. So glad to hear it. It's dark where I am right now. I don't need that one. Let's do some of these. Browns are great for keeping things vibrant when darkening and lightening. Usually darkening. It's gonna be a little darker, but they're all kind of around the same family-ish. Some just being more yellow than others. Like I said, I don't remember what colors I use, so I'm gonna have to rediscover my palette. I'll toss a little of this on there for fun. It's like Arizona sand. What's it called? It's called Venetian red. What's going on, Ben? Yeah, you got it. You guessed it. Yeah. working on a Humphrey and beard painting. I was actually there. I don't know if you caught the beginning of the stream when I was explaining it, but I was actually there recently. Painting it in person. And then that tornado happened, and we had to leave. So I took it home, finished it here. Just laying out my colors right now. It always takes a minute. I'll try to keep it on the camera so at least there's something to watch. I like to keep my neutrals in their own territory. And there's a lot of natural color going on in this, so I don't need much crazy bright colors, but it's always good to have some pure blues, pure reds. I'm going to toss those over here. The Prussian blue, man, I think Prussian blue is always going to be in my palette. One of the most universal blues. And the reason for that is because it actually is cyan at the same time when it's lightened with white, or close to it. Like watercolor artists, when they want a blue sky, a lot of times they'll use the Prussian blue and dilute it with a lot of water. Give you a nice cerulean sky. Definitely gonna need some yellows. Like I said, I'm kind of just putting all the colors. There's my cadmium, lemon. No, that's pretty much cadmium. I don't care if it's the pure pigment or not for this. This paint's high quality enough to where it still does a great job. Alright. I just need my straight up cadmium red here. There it is. Cadmium scarlet, that's what I grabbed. Which is just more orange. And you'll see, I'll put it next to the cadmium red. So you see that, I mean, sorry, that's the cadmium scarlet there. But cadmium red, you can see it. It's just one step closer. Pretty much the purest red. Sorry if that music's too loud. Gets a little away from you sometimes because the volume changes during the song. Alright, just gonna grab my brushes. Grabbing a random assortment of brushes. Don't remember what exactly I use, but these usually do everything I need. So. And it's like, here they are. Couple quills, couple flats, flat chisel. Actually, grab one more bigger flat here. If I can find it. There we go. Alright. Now I'm just gonna kind of decide what I want to do first here. Oh, I gotta get my spray bottle. Here it is. This is my favorite tool here. Yesterday, a stranger said that when it comes to making friends, I act like Jaden Animations. You mentioned Jaden Animations many times. I don't know. It kind of rings a bell. I've never seen it though. So sorry when it comes to like I can't relate when I'm like I don't know. I've never watched it. So part of that due to No Limits. Well, that's good. Progress. Progress then. I assume you were watching the stream in your headphones. Something like that. Alright. So I think my next step, I mean, it's very detailed up in the foreground here. So my next step is I think this one particular light hanging from the ceiling. So I'll start there. And you know, I don't even know how Jaden Animations makes friends. I don't know the style of that person's making friends. Because the way you worded it, you said I act when it comes to making friends. I act like Jaden Animations, so. Alright, I'm gonna grab some pure white here. Because these light bulbs are pretty much pure white, but I'll see if I can get away with... Oh, you know what? I never put the yellows down on my palette. That was the one thing I didn't do. Oops. I went to go use it immediately and it wasn't there. I'm trying to keep my palette in view. Hopefully that's enough of it there. This paint tube is stuck. Oh, another one bites the dust, almost empty. Oops. Dipped my finger in paint there. This is called primary yellow. It's a pre-mix, it's a mixed color, it's not a pure pigment. It's very transparent, it's kind of weak. And then you have permanent yellow deep here, which is a little bit darker than cadmium yellow, but ultimately trying to imitate that. And just for my own sake in learning, I want to get some cadmium yellow out next to it. There we go. All the colors. I do this when, you can see the difference there. It's subtle. I do this when I need to rediscover all the colors I did before. I was working on this painting for a few days, and like here and there, and was able to keep the same palette until I had to take the easel out the other day. And this is one of those paintings that it's a personal project. Like I'm not in a rush to finish it or anything. Alright. So you can see I kind of like to put my colors in a circle so they can all sort of meet in the middle and create this giant smorgasbord of different color mixes. And I just want to bring in this really light yellow here, and then just the smallest dash. I'll try cadmium scarlet. Still a little too yellow. Grab the cadmium red. Even some of the yellow deep. There it is. See, sometimes this primary yellow, it's a little too on the way to lemon yellow. So it kind of fights the orange a little bit more. And I've made it a little too orange. I'm going to keep my color pools small here, because I'm not filling as much area anymore. It's going to be a lot more small details, so there's no need to make these giant areas of color on my palette. And I'll need to put pure white to this at some point. But let's see, it's coming off the second rafter here. Goes past this board and the light bulb's right about here. And I have a little bit of fisheye going on here with this in perspective. So when I draw these lamps, I want to make sure that I keep in mind they're going to be hanging towards the third point on the bottom and the fourth point on the top. The vanishing point, that is. But this one's pretty close to the center. The station line right here. So we can't see it, but that will be the center of our drawing. So right here, we're going to have a little bit of tilt to it. It's not a lot. It's subtle. It's almost kind of straight up and down. You get a feel for that the more you play with it. So this light bulb is kind of fancy. And it takes up about half of this gray area here. I'm always making mental notes like that when it comes to proportions and stuff like that. And I will be dry brushing for glow effects in this more. Because it's not really a wet on wet situation. It's a bit more meticulous. Okay. That has this glass around it. And I'm going to attempt to paint the glass with this color I made. And honestly, I'm going to switch brushes for that, because we're getting detailed now. And I'm going to have fun with the details on this one. This isn't for a demo or for anyone else but me. I'm just going to try to draw the outline of it first. I have some thin gouache on my brush, watered down. And you don't always have to nail the outside edge first. You can undercut it a little bit. Work your way towards the edge until it's right. And then I'm trying to see, it almost has like a nipple on the end of it or something. It's like it almost looks like a bottle. But I don't think it's open. There's sort of no way around these kind of tiny details in painting, at least in my opinion, the way I do it. And I'm not going for perfection here, but it's just gotta feel like a light. And what's interesting about this scene, it's actually daytime, so these lights aren't going to be as moody as they normally would be. Also, on Monday, my inner child told me that problematic people are not problematic. They are trying to change for the better and just trying to repair a reputation, and I kind of agree with my inner child. Yeah, I mean, that can be the right situation sometimes. I think, some people can go too far, or it gets harder and harder to forgive, but I think most things, people have more than one chance. I'm going to take a chance, not take a chance, I'm going to take the chance to cut back into that light bulb a little bit on the left side. The brush got away from me a little bit. Center that light bulb a little bit more in. And we're going to come back with the white. And I kind of want a little bit of the back gray to show through here, because it is glass. Just the slightest bit, almost as if it was like the underpainting, if that makes sense. And then the bottom part of this glass is catching a little light too. And it's like this little thing. Like that. Alright, start there. Get some of the pure white again. Maybe even grab that really bright yellow. And actually use a better brush for it this time. Oh, it's had bright on your end. Oops. Oops. There we go. Just took down like studio light one hair. Just kind of glaring it out a little bit too much for the camera. It's gonna be darker for me now, but it's okay. I'll do it for the viewers. I get my spray bottle and spray my palette. Try to remember to do this every minute or so. And it keeps the gouache from getting dry and create crumbs, which you can reactivate crumbs, but they can get a little annoying sometimes. These are some of the strangest light bulbs I've ever seen, to be honest. They're like old and antique, and they're not typical. A little crown on it. Something like that. Yo, what's good, brother? Good to see you here. How you doing? Thanks for hopping in. Just working on a little personal project here. Doing like a beginning to end painting today. Got on late. The light seems to gather more on the edge, but not quite that fat of a line. Try that again. Yo, I almost got to making my RuneScape 3 character the other night. I downloaded the game launcher and I set up my account, but then it was getting late and I just didn't have it in me to start the character, because I knew if I started the character I would have had to play for a couple hours and then I would have been up too late. Super random. Was hopping on YouTube some RS3 videos and saw you were on. Ha, nice. Trying to figure out that quest. Now I've gone and I've made this light a little fatter than it is on accident, and then also it goes up more straight like this, but it's fine. I'm going to allow it to be slightly wrong. Bring it out to about where that straight line will hit. There we go. Feels better. Kind of rubbing away with a dry brush here and there, letting some of that glass remain transparent. Heck yeah, you'll be hopelessly hooked again when you start. Yep, yeah, I know, that's why I avoid it, dude. I know how addicted I can get to RuneScape. And down that road. If you like RPGs, man, that one's the king. The king of all grinds. Some pure white comes back in here. Or not pure, maybe, but just a lot brighter. Just getting some excess paint off. And it brings out this little edge here. And a little shaky. Some people say that gouache is like a more expensive watercolor compared to the rose art watercolors from my kindergarten class. I think gouache has more options of colors. Well, it depends on which one you're getting. Gouache can be cheaper than the watercolor if you're getting really expensive watercolor. But I think they're both expensive. If you go to the art store and you look at the advanced watercolors and also the advanced gouache, they're pretty much right around the same ballpark, like $8, $9, $10 a tube. But the thing is, when you're starting out and you're learning, super expensive art supplies aren't necessarily gonna help you. I think where super expensive art supplies come in is when you start getting more advanced and you start getting into little nuances or little like quality of life improvements that you wish you had. And you'll find yourself at a point where you're just like, ah, you know, I wish this paint did this a little bit more or something. And then that's kind of where the expensive stuff comes in. For example, expensive like reds and yellows are always miles better than the cheap kind from what I experience. Because bright colors, it's hard for them to be opaque to begin with, so it has to be really quality. So I think like if you wanted to save money on a palette, you could go cheap on the darker colors, but then splurge more on like the brighter, more vivid ones. Because when you go back in history with paint pigments, basically the colors that were expensive back then were the bright and vivid ones for the most part, because they're hard to find. They were usually made with rarer minerals and things like lapis lazuli, however you say it, that stone. They have other synthetic versions of it now, so you don't need to get lapis lazuli. I don't know how you say it. It's something like that. It's the blue stone. And way back when, they only used to use those kind of colors for only like really high-end painters that were hired by the richest people could use colors like that. They would often be saved for things like, you know, the robe on a queen or something. Because then they would also have, those rich people would also have the money to be wearing those expensive clothing with those expensive dyes as well. Hey, I appreciate you liking the stream. Thank you. Good to see you, Hearn. We're just doing a little personal painting progress here. I'm gonna grab a little black and tangent off to the side here a little bit. I'm actually gonna grab a little bit of this burnt sienna, I think. And actually, this is burnt sienna. This is it's something like it. It's like a lighter burnt sienna. Honestly, the name of the colors don't really matter to me anymore. I kind of just look at it and I'm like, that's the color that I need. It kind of just gets to that point. I just kind of name the colors for you guys because a lot of people like usually wonder like what pigments I'm using and stuff. I make lapis lazuli all the time in RuneScape. I'm not surprised. This kind of sounds like a RuneScape thing. I mean, also a Minecraft thing too. Actually, I'm pretty sure there might even be lapis in Minecraft. Dad's pocket watch. Excuse me. I'm gonna take some Grandpa's belt here. Yeah, that's an epic spoof. There's a great Bob Ross spoof. You guys gotta go see if you haven't. I don't even know what it's called now. So I'm gonna bring a bit more orange to this color here. I remember deep yellow hue ended up being exactly what I needed, and it is again. Look at that. Just heighten the orange in it a little bit more. And I want it to be thin. I want to add water to it because I kind of want to do a couple really thin layers on top of this. Even break up that line a little bit. It's not that perfect. So good, yeah, dude. Some people just do it so good that like it almost can't ever be done again. You know what I mean? Bring a little bit of that red again, a little bit of that deep yellow hue. Probably went a little weak with the red, a little bit more. It's very like inviting, cozy, warm, light color. And it'll probably take me a few layers because I'm going very thin here. But the reason I'm going thin is because I'm trying to build up this transparent glass effect. And I don't want it to be just a solid color. I also don't want to push the orange too far on accident, so I want to give myself a chance to bring it up in increments until it looks just right. Kind of like tuning a guitar, you know? Or a bass for Bill in the chat. Kind of like when you're tuning an instrument, you make it flat and then you slowly crank it up towards the note. Tends to be the best way to tune an instrument. String instrument, specifically. Like this redder color. I almost want to push it a little more. I'm learning, so I'm still learning just as much as I ever have. And the thing is, I started on acrylic and been switched to gouache pretty much primarily. And I'm learning that I gotta push everything just like 5-10% more, so that when it dries, it's there. Okay, gotta see you later. Oh man, thanks so much for hopping in, Imaginary. Good to see you around. And take care. I hope you have a good rest of your afternoon. Peace out. Bring a little bit of that in. We're gonna have to go back with the pure white again to make it bright. Thing is too, the light you guys are seeing, it's still... I can never get this darn light in the right spot. Oh, I almost had it there. It's almost like when it's too dark for me, it looks right for you, which is kind of funny. You know, maybe... I think I just need to turn the exposure down on the camera. Maybe that's the problem. Let me see if that helps. Let's see, brightness. Get on one click. That's actually kind of nice. It actually looks closer. I'll just go with that. Yeah, you're not gonna be perfect, you know. Using my older cameras here. Like I was saying last stream, like 2016 cameras. This will be a short one tonight. Just trying to stay dedicated to doing art every day, even though I'm tired and it's almost 9 o'clock. I had a feeling this darn light bulb would take quite a bit of time of finagling. Spray my palette again. Probably go for like an hour, guys, honestly. Won't see much progress on the painting. Just want to come say hey. You especially don't make progress on the painting when you're at this stage. Detail stage. As you can see, that white dimmed down again, but it's pretty, you know, it's getting there. I think with lighting effects, it always goes better for me when I build it up slowly, but layer by layer. But you know, there's wet on wet techniques with watercolor that really help you get awesome lighting effects. I'm gonna mute the mic really quick so I can just do my heat gun here. I wanna hurt your ears. I went to use it, it wasn't plugged in. Alright, here we go. It just dries it up nice and speeds it up nice. Been looking at portable hand dryers, honestly, so when I go out and paint abroad, I can have the hair dryer out there. Be amazing. Sometimes when you're doing plein air with wet media, you're waiting for things to dry a lot of the time. But I think it's my favorite media for painting out in the woods. I'm not going to go to the right to the edge of the light bulb. I'm just going to leave a little hair there. So that, because actually you can still see that like the light is in a light bulb. It's just so subtle. Little things like that I sometimes ignore, but often enough will do the work to render it out. In this case, it's probably not too important because this light isn't like a main subject or anything, but we'll go for it. Again, I'm always experimenting too. Alright, back to why I was mixing darker color here. It's easy to get trigger happy too with reactivating your palette with the spray bottle, so just keep that in mind. And I'm going to mix it right into this orange, because there's actually, you can see through the top of this light bulb where the fixture connects to it, but it's very overtaken by all the atmospheric light flying around inside of this light bulb here. I'm just going to hint at it. I'm going to start with the lightest color possible and then just work my way towards the darker black. A little bit more there. And some tricks you can do when you're trying to paint something like inside glass. This goes for water too, like something underwater that you can see still because it's clear water. Sometimes just tossing a shine over that at the end can really help give that effect. Simple, a lot of simple, cheap effects. And I've actually drawn this slightly to left of the beam, but that's okay because wherever this light fixture connects to, it goes all the way up to the rafters, or beyond the rafters, up to the flat part of the ceiling. And what's cool that I like, and this is going to be a good moment to bring out some depth here, even though it's subtle, is this goes behind this water pipe here on the ceiling. So I'm going to try to bring that out, even though it's subtle. And I want this to fade into black. We don't see this going all the way. So I'm not worried about it being super clear. But there. And sometimes, you know, just the visibility of the paint texture being there is enough for your brain to pick up on it. And that'll disappear a little bit more once it dries. I think that one of the challenging parts with wet media, and something you're always sort of juggling, is that darker colors end up being a little bit lighter, and lighter colors end up being a little bit darker always. So it's like you'll put on a little bit of a yellow thing, and then suddenly the yellow fades quite a bit, and it's not really there. And you'll run into that a lot, and you'll find that to counter it, you just end up developing a habit of putting a little bit more on there, or trusting the drying process, basically. To me, it really suits how I like to paint, because I do normally like to build up in a lot of layers, thin layers, so I don't mind that gradual feel to it. Plein air is a bit different because you're more in a rush. You're fighting the time of the day, light and everything. You have a little less time to like do all those delicate layers, but okay. Now I'm gonna dry it again really quick. There's something I always point out too with wet media too, is there's a difference between it being dry and it being cured. And when it's cured, you can actually go over it a few times before it reactivates. When it's just dry, it'll pretty much reactivate right away. And that's something you have to kind of play with to know the difference and how it feels. But take my word for it. So like for example, what place you could use that, let's say you had a field of grass and there was just a tree in the center of it. And you already done all this work rendering your grass, but you want to have a shadow behind your tree. You make sure that whole grass part is cured up nice. And you can pretty much do a really nice thin wash of that shadow color right over that grass and it won't mess up any of your blades. But it has to be the right kind of dry. It's not really something you can show. It's just something that you feel out playing with wet media. Okay, now time to add the glow, the fun part. Forget which brush I used for this. I remember I found a brush that did a great job with it. I think I probably just used my flat chisel. This thing's great for dry brush effects because There's so little bristle on it that, and you can see it next to my finger how small it is. It doesn't hold a lot of water. And you don't want a lot of water when you're trying to get glow effects like around this light here. And another tool I recommend having when you're trying to get glow effects is a sponge. And basically I almost end up using this as like a palette. See what I mean? So I'm gonna grab some of this orangey glow color here and kind of just mash the brush into the sponge. And where the color builds up on the sponge, I actually end up just re-dipping back into that spot on the sponge. Because the thing is with the dry brushing effects, you want just the most ever so slight, barely little bit of paint on your brush. Because all you're trying to do is just catch the peaks of the little texture of the canvas and have it sit on top. I could do a little test. And I'm going to cross hatch in different directions. And be careful to not drag it too much. See, I have too much paint on my brush. Too much water. It's got to be so dry. Grab a little bit more of the color and mash it into the sponge. Just a little spot in the sponge that does not have any of this other color yet. So that color will reactivate. See, it's too wet. Dry it off even more. Still a little too wet. Very fine line. And this is something you have to sort of work out as you go. Oh, something happened with my camera. Sorry, 1 second. Huh. I think my camera just died, sorry. Let me see if I can fix that quick. Yeah, my camera died, shit. Well, give me a second. Just gotta grab some batteries. I'm gonna put you on the intermission screen. Alright, sorry about that. My camera just suddenly died. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. So, as I was waiting for it to charge up, see, I was still busy building up more of this glowy effect here. Something you gotta be patient with. Slowly work up. It's easy to go really far with it, so it's better to just be gentle. Just let the layers slowly build up, ever so barely. Like pretty much like one particle at a time. Like I've let my gouache dry here on the palette, and I'm sort of grabbing it from there. And yeah, I'm pushing it maybe a little farther than it would be in real life, just for the sake of the painting feeling like it has a bit more energy, hopefully. A little more warmth to it. And you go until your brush has nothing on it. Just try to fade it as smoothly as you can. Now I don't have this perfectly smoothly gradiented out like an airbrush. I probably could have done a better job with it, you know, but I think it gives the point. Portrays what I'm trying to get there. And I'm always working out from the center. You don't want to grab more paint and then start going right here, because you'll ruin your nice gradient out from the side that you want to be brighter. I've done it so many times. And just barely getting paint on my brush here. It's almost non-existent. And I'm rubbing this over the top of everything on the light bulb too, because this glow is gonna be in front of it too. And so you get my spray gun here. And gonna grab a bit brighter of a glowing color here. Grab a little bit of my permanent yellow deep, it's called. Or just, you know, I think it's better to just think like a yellow with a little bit more red in it, rather than being like, oh, that's this color name, that's this color name. It's easy to get lost in the color names. A little more white. Maybe one. Nah, you know what? I'm not even going to touch it with red. This already has enough red in it. Do it off to the side on my sponge here. So I have almost that little color, oops, sorry, like a little color palette on my sponge, you know? Just a little bit brighter of a color. If anything, it wasn't bright enough. I'll just make it white. I don't need to bring it up towards there though. I'll end up getting too close to my dark colors. I haven't had to use any yet. One hint. I didn't even get the hint. There it is. Alright. Back on my sponge here. There it is. Clearly brighter. And you pretty much dry your brush off till there's nothing on it, like, so you think it's not going to do anything. Still even too much paint on it. Start right at the light bulb here. And this bloom, I don't want it to leave the light bulb. This is that that white bloom inside of it. I just want it to be a little bit different than the orange. There we go, now it's starting to have that natural look. Achieving the natural look, you'll realize you have to tweak it and tweak it and tweak it. And sometimes you just want to grab thick paint. Actually, I'm gonna grab my smaller brush. I have all the shapes right now, so I don't want to risk a bigger brush blobbing it out on me. Happens all the time. It's a good lesson in not marrying your brush. Use the right tools for the right things. Now again, this is still kind of blared out on your end, believe it or not. Huh. Just playing around with the color correction a little bit. I guess where I had it was good enough. What's happening to you guys is the light bulb that I'm painting is getting a little blared out, so you're not seeing some subtleties that I'm seeing. Now I'm just going in for the pure white, right out of the tube. Being careful not to overtake the edge. Just like that. And I'm going to speed dry that with my heat gun really quick. Alright. Add a couple shines to it that surprisingly aren't as white as the light bulb. One there. And then let's toss one right over this thing. It's not there in my reference, but let's just add it anyway for effect. Add a nice little layer there. A lot of the times when I'm doing personal projects like this, I'll slow down a lot on objects like this. It's like my opportunity to sort of learn how to draw something. And granted, you know, this isn't the type of light bulb you normally picture in your head. But pretty happy with it. Not much else to be done with it, besides maybe pushing the whites and brights a little bit more at some point. Didn't curve that the way I wanted to. There we go. And then what's cool, maybe the one last tweak I could do to it, is that comes through a little bit. So subtle, but it's there. We'll bring this out a little bit more this way. Just the shape was just a little unsymmetrical for my liking. There we go. Now I'll just grab some of this to chop back into that there. It's good enough. I like that. It actually feels like it's glowing. Pretty happy with how that came out. Alright. Round out the top of it a little bit more. Got a little flat. There we go. Okay. Now, final touch. Just try to get literally pure white glob of it. Get right in the middle there. Nice. Alright. We just hit an hour. That's about all the time I have for such a late night stream. I know all I added was a light, but I hope you learned something. And because there was a lot of elements to it, you know, you had the bloom effect, the layering, thin versus thick paint. A lot of things went into that single light bulb to make it look like that. But thanks for hopping in. I really appreciate it. And again, streams are going to try to be on Fridays and Sundays. And the time's kind of open in the air. Sometimes they'll be at night, sometimes they'll be in the morning. But anyways, appreciate you stopping by on Planet Jokum. Be sure to give me a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel wherever you are. And go check out my website, Planet Jokum. All my art is for sale there, my originals, my prints, and join the Discord. Alright, take care. Have a great Sunday, and hope you guys all have a great start to your week. Thanks, brother. It's got a long way to go, but hey, one step at a time. One little bit of progress makes the sadness go away. Take care, brother. Thanks for hopping in and watching. Enjoy playing RuneScape tonight. Disc golf soon. Yeah.